Alrighty, you guys. We're gonna talk about something I started talking about it yesterday. Of course, you wouldn't know that because you weren't in the teaching that I was in. Actually, no, it wasn't teaching. It was I did a Facebook Live, and so I want to welcome those that are. Why is it giving me an echo? I want to welcome you guys that are online to Powered2Empower. I thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Moving forward, I want to let you know, Diane, that this will actually be my last Saturday here.
Oh,
I'm going to continue to do them, but I'm going to do them on Zoom.
oh,
So you can do it in the comfort of your home. All you have to do is just download the app on your phone or your computer. It's a free app. And then what I'll do is I'll just send you the link.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because nobody's coming.
Right. And so I don't want to waste electricity.
You know, like it's like that like the lady comes and teaches Zumba. They're like, I'm really the only one that shows up for that.
It's okay. It's okay. I still want you to be a part. So what I'm going to do, I have your information, and so I'm going to email it to you, the link and everything, so you'll still be able to participate.
Oh,
And you can just do it from your home.
oh, okay.
Okay. So, which leads into today's session that I'm going to be talking about is missed opportunities. And like I said, I briefly shared a little bit of that nugget yesterday when I did a Facebook Live, and I felt led to continue on with talking about it because I think that it's important that we understand that when we miss opportunities, it's not just that opportunity that we miss a whole lot that's connected to the opportunity, if that makes sense. And so it's going to be kind of like an open dialogue. So at some point, Tanya, you may, if you can come off mute when I ask the questions if you have anything, because this is open. But I want to talk about it because what I experienced just looking around, that so many people are missing opportunities, and the opportunities cause us to become stagnant in many areas. I mean, a whole lot of areas in our lives. And so my first question to you guys is how many of us can honestly say that we have missed opportunities, that we've honestly missed opportunities? And I'm not just referencing opportunities from like a job or something like that. I'm talking about opportunities across the board. We all have.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all have. We've all missed opportunities. We miss our opportunities to genuinely love people and genuinely be loved. We miss opportunities to be happy. And there's a difference between being happy and there's a difference between having joy. Because joy is something that's internal, okay? Whereas happiness, that's external and it's only for a minute. You can be happy in this minute and the next minute you'll be sad. So want to make sure we understand the difference. We miss the opportunity to have a healthy and successful careers because we refuse to learn the lesson that comes our way. And so when we talk about that is when opportunities and doors open for us to have these opportunities in terms of work, let's just say career or whatever, when we start looking at the script, what's required of us, all those kinds of things, our natural instinct is to back off. Okay, we automatically just back off and we don't want to embrace what's not familiar. Hi, how are you?
Hello. Hello.
Hi. Dr. Sherry referred you to tell you to come down here? No, you just come
There
in.
she is, right there. That's your young lady.
Oh.
She delivers me my meals on wheels.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's the one who reminded me of me.
So we're talking, what's your name?
Octavia.
Octavia. I remember seeing your name on the list. I normally come with her, but my schedule's gotten kind of busy. Welcome
And she got out of town.
Yeah. So, welcome to coming in. We're talking about missed opportunities. How we miss opportunities because of whatever. And so we actually just got started. So I have a few people that are online that don't live in the state. So they're joining us as well. And what I was talking about is we miss opportunities to genuinely be happy or genuinely love people and to genuinely be loved. We miss opportunities to be happy and to have joy. And I was explaining to them the difference between being happy and having joy is happiness is exterior and joy is interior. Okay. We have an opportunity, we miss our opportunities to have a healthy and successful careers. And I was talking about that because we refuse to learn the lessons that come our way. And I was talking to somebody yesterday about how, actually a group of people yesterday about how when we're in corporate America, you know how they have us do all these trainings and we learn these different softwares and stuff like that. And we feel like it's only, for an example, we use Microsoft Word. How you can take that, what you learn beyond that job. You can take it to the next job. If you are birthing your own business, you can use it in your job, in your own business. It doesn't matter. You can use it personally. It's not isolated to just that particular job. But I think what happens is we have a mindset that when we're on a job, whatever we learn on that job is specific to that job and that job only. But that's something that I learned years ago. Take that, or as my mother would say, you take those skills and those experiences and you add it to your belt. So what you do is you add, it's like you added another hole to your belt. Does that make sense? So it's a level of experience. And so that's what we should be doing. Any kind of life experiences, the things that we're taught, skills that we're learning, even like today, what nugget you're getting today is not for you to just use for today. You're supposed to take it and move it forward, right? When it comes to new opportunities, we would rather stay in what we call a safe place or a place of familiarity instead of us taking a risk. How many of us can we honestly say we're risk takers? I mean, literally risk takers. Nobody. I have learned to be a risk taker because I've learned that there are opportunities when you take risks. There's some, here's the key, are taking risks, you have to measure the outcome of that risk. Where you taking a risk, where is it going to lead you? What's the outcome of it on the other side, right? Is it going to be beneficial to you? Or is it going to keep you in a place where you're currently at? And when you measure that risk outcome, 9 times out of 10, you taking a risk will end up in a better place than where you currently are. But we don't want to take the time to measure, because the first thing you say, oh, that's a risk, that's uncomfortable, I'm not going to do that, right? And so then what we'll do is we'll stay stuck. And so that's why I say it's good to take risks sometimes. It's good to take risks with jobs. It's good to take risks with relationships. It's good to take risks when it comes to connecting and collaborating, right? Because you learn different things. You have a question? Oh.
I guess you could say I'm a risk taker and trying to better myself to walk again. I had a stroke, my paralyzed on one side. I get up and cook, I get up and clean. So.
Okay, yeah, that's taking a risk. Yeah, that's you taking a risk concerning your own health and recovering. And that's a good example, you taking the risk because that risk is necessary for you. And if you don't take the risk, then you'll remain in that chair. Yeah. So good for you. I would just say this, all opportunities and open doors have one thing in common. Does anybody know what that is? Nobody? Nobody want to even take a stab at it?
Dr. Michelle, I missed the question. What did you say?
All opportunities and open doors have one thing in common.
You have to take them.
Mm-mm,
It's always the same.
mm-mm. Nobody else? Hey, India. The one thing in common is this, they focus on the future. Opportunities and open doors focus on the future. Why? Because it allows you to enter in a window of opportunity. And unless you walk through that door, you're gonna stay on one side. Does that make sense? So that's pretty much what that does. All opportunities and open doors have one thing in common. And that is they focus on your future. And what happens is because many of us have missed opportunities, it has caused our future to become a little bleak, blurry, if you will. Right? Because we've missed so many opportunities. We are afraid to take risks. We stay where we are on the other side of the door, whereas the door of opportunity, it swings open. It swings open, not this way. It swings open for us to enter in. But because we refuse to enter in, that door is going to remain closed. Or if you think about the door like this door over here, it opens inward, right? And so we're already on the inside. When it opens inward, it's going to hit us. If you just think about it, it's going to hit us. Whereas if we were on the opposite side and we open the door, it's pushing away from us. So that means it's pushing us forward. Does that make sense to you guys? And so what happens is that door is there to push you forward, not hold you back. Sometimes we also view opportunities as problems. What do I mean by that? We look at opportunities because we're not familiar with them, right? And if we see things that are connected to these opportunities, and I'll give a personal, not my personal example, but I'll give a common example when it comes to developing relationships, because people are involved, personalities are involved, characters are involved. And because the average person don't want to be bothered with any of that, what do? We step back, right? We reject the relationship that could be built, or we don't respond to that relationship. It's because in our mind, we think it's a problem. But what we fail to realize is a lot of things that we're searching for, a lot of things that we're looking for, a lot of things that we are in need of requires us to connect with other people, because people are resourceful. Do y'all agree with me? People are resourceful. It's not companies that are resourceful, it's the people inside of the company that are resourceful. And when we reject the opportunities to connect, we reject the resources that we're desiring to have, right? Another example, when we go to the doctor, we don't go see the facility. Y'all understand what I'm saying? We don't go see the facility. We don't check in with the facility, we check in with the people inside of the facility. Those people in there, the nurses, the front desk, the back desk, the back office, the doctors, they're the people that we need to see, right? And so if we refuse to make the appointment and show up at the appointment, then we're not seeking the help that we need. Same thing with a dentist, an eye doctor. So you may put your credit card on your ATM card inside of the ATM. There's somebody on the other side of that machine that's going to balance out the transaction you just did through a computer. That's the way it works. Computers don't run the complete world. There's somebody behind the computer who's managing it. So if we reject the resources or that opportunity, then we're just existing. Is this making sense? If you guys online have questions, feel free to ask the questions. And here's another one. This one dropped in my spirit this morning, and I laughed at it when I heard it. We cross-dress real opportunities and make them something other than what it was meant to be. So if you think about a cross-dresser in the natural, either you're meeting the real person or you're meeting the person who just cross-dressed. Right? So it's not a figment of your imagination. You're meeting someone, they're introducing you as Jamie, but that's not really Jamie. Am I making sense? So instead of it being Jamie, it's actually James. But you would know that it's James. You're only knowing that it's James because of the exterior makeup. They have cross-dressed. And so what they've done is they have delivered themselves to you with a false pretense. It's a distorted truth. Yes. And so what we do when opportunities come our way, if we're not open to embrace the opportunities, what we do is we cross-dress the opportunity.
That has to do with an appropriate filter.
Yes, your inappropriate filter, your lens, if you will. When I refer to lens, I'm talking about your eyes. You look at something in a way that it's not, or you're trying to make it something that it is not. Does that make sense? And so what happens is we miss those opportunities. We miss them. And so I thought that was funny when I heard it, I was like, a cross-dress opportunity, what does that mean? And it's actually real. We've all done it. We look at opportunities from a distorted viewpoint. It could be a real opportunity, and because it appears to be so good to be real, we will reject it because of our mindset. We reject it because of the way we're looking at it. And instead of sizing it, completely, we will reject the very thing that we've been looking for. Opportunities are sensitive, and their opportunities are sensitive in that they are time restricted. Let's talk about that. An opportunity comes your way, let's say a job, whatever, and you have a time frame to apply for that job. What do? Do you apply for it, or you just say, oh, I'll wait till tomorrow? This is real discussion. This is real discussion, because I'm gonna switch it from the job to something else in a minute.
No, you're right. That's real talk, because sometimes depending on the platform and when you see the actual vacancy notice, it might tell you how many applications that's already been submitted. And so you can allow the intimidation to say, well, the window's about to close. I'm sure they already got like 100 applications. And they only looking to fill 2 positions. I don't need to apply.
That's exactly what we do.
Let me keep looking. I don't have a change.
That's exactly what we do. Or I'm making it even more personal. You're out and about and you're trying to find a parking spot, and it appears to be full, right? It appears to be full. The lot is full. So what does the average person do? They leave that lot and they go somewhere else. instead of waiting, sitting and waiting in their cars for somebody to come out. How many times have we done it? I've done it. I've honestly done it. Right? Opportunities when it's time sensitive, other things would be, and because you're so tripped up here, your reflex is you automatically thinking that, oh, that person is not for real. Right? That person not for real. Or I don't know, they don't have time for me, or whatever the scenario is, right? And what do? If a person gives you their number and they say, hey, I need you to call me, I need to have a conversation with you, I'm giving you my number and I need you to call me at such and such a time. How many times have we really discounted the opportunity and not really followed through?
Go home and put it in the drawer. And forget all
That's
about it.
real talk. That's real talk. We go home and we put it in the drawer or we stuff it in the corner, and sometimes some people will even throw it away. And that's a missed opportunity to connect, because it goes back to what I said the first time. There's a resource that could be waiting for you that you've been desiring, but because of your skewed thinking or the way that you view something, you miss the opportunity to connect, right? You miss the opportunity to get whatever it is that you need from that individual, or that person could be, that person can lead you to a resource that you need, right? And so we miss it.
It makes me think about what we always like, people say, oh Lord, I need some help with this. I need some help. I need some help. I need some help. But when the help comes because of the packaging, we just dismiss it.
That part right there. She said that we always asking God for help. And then when the help comes, because it's not packaged the way we want it to be packaged, that cross-dressing, we reject the package. Yeah. Listen, let me tell y'all something. The day and time that we're in, when we ask for something, and when it comes, you better grab hold, because the opportunity is time sensitive.
Yeah.
That's in every area of our life. Opportunities are now time sensitive because people are no longer patient. That's across the board. People are no longer patient. Companies who want to give out money, whether it's a loan or a grant or whatever, they're no longer patient. It's literally now a first come, first serve. You got your hand out. If you qualify and you fit the profile, I'm going to give it to you and I'm going to keep it moving. The moment we sleep on something or sleep on someone, we miss an opportunity. And then we can't cry and say, I should have, could have, would have, because the fault now is on you as an individual. And these are things that are happening daily. It's happening more often than not. I think about just with me being a case manager now, just the different cases that I have been managing, we send out notification to the people, right, who are requiring stuff from us. And we give them opportunity. Yeah, we give them a window of opportunity. If they miss the window of opportunity, they don't get the help that they need. Which means, not only do they not get the help that they need, it impacts their paycheck. I mean, big time. It will impact their paycheck, it impacts a whole lot, it's a domino effect, right? They miss the window of opportunity, not the hour for us to sleep. We can't sleep. Opportunity presents itself. If I give you a bottle of water, you say you thirsty, you gonna take the water and drink it, or you gonna give it back to me?
Take it.
Right. Now, if you're not so thirsty and you can pick and choose, but that's, and I'm handing you a bottle of it. You gonna take the water and drink it, or you gonna pick and choose? Well, that's not the kind of water I drink, but you thirsty. And you won't be able to get another bottle of water. You won't have another opportunity for several hours. So you're gonna sit there and get dehydrated, or you're gonna take a bottle and drink it. They're making it very personal. As simple as this. Because a lot of times we pick and choose the opportunities that present to us. We want to customize an opportunity that's been given to us that could have been given to somebody else, right? When the opportunity is given to us, we look at it. I don't like the pink on this bottle. I don't like the blue on this bottle. Matter of fact, I don't even like the label. So what we try to do is we will start dissecting the opportunity, and we forget it's time sensitive for us to grab it. And so what happens is, because we want to dissect it instead of grabbing it, we miss the opportunity, and then the bottle goes away.
When you're saying that, especially with the time that we're in, missing the opportunity to be able to empower somebody. We're so focused on self and limited to taking the opportunity. You know what? Let's share.
He's not supposed to go through that door anyway.
Let's bring somebody else up with together. Processing everything that you were saying, and the opportunity that we have to be creative is not just being self mode, self-protective mode, thinking about self or trying to get to the next place and the next opportunity, but really taking the opportunity to bring somebody forward with us.
Right.
Let's try to find a creative way to stretch this and share. So let's bring, so that the next person goes forward with us instead of leaving somebody else behind. I guess another way of looking through the lens of to help.
What lens are you looking through?
Yeah.
That would be the thing. What lens are you looking through when it comes to opportunity?
Yeah.
Opportunity presents themselves to us all of the time, but depending on where we are here, will determine if we, and the opportunities could be small, or could be grandiose, right? But we opportunities, and when we miss the opportunities, sometimes opportunities that we miss get in our head, oh, well, it'll come back around. No. Most times, opportunities do not come back around. It's either you grab hold to it when it's present, or you miss it altogether, right? Here's one that I thought about, and this happens. A lot of times, opportunities that come our way, opportunities test our faith. You say, how the heck? Depending on the opportunity, it will test your faith. Are you going to trust that this opportunity is for you, or are you going to push the opportunity aside? Yeah. And I said all that to say this. Opportunities are testers of our faith, yet we don't understand why many of us struggle in that area. We struggle with faith. Faith across the board, just period. Faith to move forward, faith to grab, trust that you have the strength in your hands and your arm to pick this bottle of water up and move it. Faith to even turn your key in your ignition. We have unthinkable faith is what I call it when it comes to things like that. You're gonna put the key in your door and you know it's gonna turn, right? You already know without a shadow of a doubt that when you put that key that they assigned to you in your door, that is going to turn and unlock the key. Why can't we use that faith when it comes to opportunities being presented to us? Is it the same faith or is it something different? Yeah, it's the same faith.
Blind faith.
It's exactly blind faith. When you go to go start your car, when you put your key in your ignition, it's literally blind faith. Because truth be told, whether you have a brand new car or a car that's been previously owned, you don't know if that car is going, the ignition is going to turn over or not. You automatically have a blind faith, an unthinkable faith, when you stick the key in that ignition and you begin to turn it and you hear that car turn on.
You have blind faith because you ain't prepared for any other obstacle other than for this to start.
Right, exactly. You have blind faith when you're in your kitchen and you go to cook. You turn the knob on your stove and you know without a shadow of a doubt that that gas or that or whatever that pilot is going to come on your stove, so it can warm up your pot or your skillet or whatever it is, right? You have blind faith when you turn the water on and your faucet, that water is going to come out of that spout. That was a different story in the month of February, though. When we had that, we had that whole, but that's an example. So let me share this with you guys. Even that, the whole week that we had that storm, me living in a house, I had to exercise my faith that my pipes would not bust. But you're hearing everyone else around you, pipe is busted, right? You have to exercise your faith. And this is we don't think about stuff like this. It's the little foxes that get us tripped up. So we had to exercise faith to stay warm the best way we knew how, without electricity. We had to exercise our faith the best way we knew how when it comes to figuring out what we were going to eat. If we were going to drink water, where was the water going to come from? Because we had no water to drink, right? These are areas where we overlook. Those are opportunities to exercise your faith. Those are opportunities that will test your faith. And that week, everybody was tested here in the state of Texas, because statewide. But given someone here on here, what was it, a tornado, and wiped out a lot of their territory. Hello. Hi. That's okay. And so they had to exercise their faith, knowing that they were going to continue to move forward, despite what they saw, what was going on around them. Right? Just a lot of different scenarios, stuff that we are challenged with in our own families. Those are opportunities that come. We didn't welcome them, but those are opportunities that come that will test our faith. So opportunities come in all kinds of, some they come when we don't want them. But at the end of the day, when it comes, whether you extend it for the opportunity or not, the bottom line is, are you ready to walk through that door of an opportunity? Are you ready to open up the window when the opportunity is banging on your window? Or do you close the curtains and say, go away? So the opportunities are testers of our faith. Then we have opportunities are most likely missed because of fear. How many of us can say, honestly say that? I want to hear from some of these people in here, over here online. How many of you have missed opportunities because of fear?
I heard the first part, Dr.
Yeah,
Bashir.
because of fear. It's breaking up really bad.
Yeah, it is breaking up.
Yes. How many of you have missed opportunities because of fear? Can you turn that up? Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, you asked how many of us have missed opportunities because of fear, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
I have before. It's better now. Because I don't like to miss opportunities at all. So I have before, but I'm a little bit better now.
So looking back at where you were when you missed those opportunities because of fear, and where you are now, do you have some regrets?
That's a good question. I feel that I could be further along than where I am because I would have used what I've learned to kind of get further ahead instead of kind of sitting down in the background and kind of getting myself out there. So I wouldn't say I regret it, but I definitely, it could have been definitely, it's a learning experience, definitely. To take the opportunities that are definitely granted to me, basically, especially if it's God ordained, instead of operating out of fear, and just not want to do it because you fear what could possibly happen, or what if do people want to receive you, or any type of opportunity really. So you really don't know if it's for you, because you're what, analytical of the thing. That's the word, over analyze of the thing. So you start analyze the attitudes and everything behind it. So I wouldn't say I regret it, but I definitely feel like I'll be further along.
Okay, that's good. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else on there want to share?
Yes, Dr. Michelle, that reminded me of, it's been at least probably 10 years when I was in this particular business, and it was a very lucrative business. And a prospect, I'll say, because I was out prospecting, and she said, call me between 4 and 5. Well, I didn't do that. One, because of fear. Two was, oh, I'll just get her later. Well, I missed a sale
Wow.
that I needed. And that happened like numerous times. And so I was told that in business, the fortune is in the follow-up. I had no problem prospecting, but the follow-up is where I had fear. The fear of they may not answer the phone, or they may say no, or how did they even deliver myself in that particular arena. So I say, even to this day, yeah, I'm a lot better, but till this day, I do have some regrets, because even though I don't work that business anymore, if I would have continued my membership every month, all I had to do was make membership, I would have money sitting in a reserve. But I gave up.
Wow.
And this has been over 10 years.
You know, you said something that's very interesting when you said the fortune is in the follow-up. And so I want to shift it from you talking about the sale, right? Because the key word is the fortune is in the follow-up. And so when opportunities present itself to us, whether it be connecting with an individual, whatever the scenario is, the fortune, your forward movement is in your follow-up. And when you refuse to follow up, you miss your fortune. You cause yourself to go bankrupt.
Wow. Yes.
I hope y'all caught what I said. The fortune is in the follow-up. And when you miss following up, whatever the follow-up looks like, when you miss following up, you cause yourself to go bankrupt. And it's not necessarily time. You missed an opportunity that may not ever come back around. So thank you for sharing it. That right there was good. And that stood out to times have we not followed up or followed through. And then we miss opportunities. We can't blame it on other people. We can't. We can only blame ourselves for. Mhm.
When you say that, we have to do is even just circling back to just sometimes for clarity or we have sometimes there's missed opportunities. Just to keep maintaining connection or circling back when there's questions or unclarity about things. The fortune can be in bringing some clarity or revelation or on both sides or one side or building a bridge or something in another manner. So
building the bridge, that's connecting the dots. Because when you have a bridge that's operable, what does a bridge do? It takes you to the other side. But when we miss the opportunity to meet at the bridge, we can't cross over. We stay at the beginning of the bridge. And sometimes, depending on what bridge that you're at, that bridge may move. So you think about a lot of the bridges in California, like in the Bay Area, San Francisco. There are bridges that when you get across, at certain points, you can't cross the bridge because the bridge is gearing to part. Because there's a boat or a ship that has to travel beneath it. And the only way that boat can successfully travel beneath it, that bridge has to open. And so if you miss the opportunity, yes, if you miss the opportunity to cross the bridge, you'll be stuck on this side. You'll be stuck, like literally stuck on one side. And even though the bridge may reconnect, you've missed the opportunity to cross over. I hope y'all caught that. You missed the opportunity to cross over. Because it's not always, when the opportunity comes for you to cross over the bridge, it opens up. It's opening up to welcome something else. You're no longer given an invitation because you missed the opportunity to cross over, right? So we have to be mindful of when those opportunities present themselves. Other times we miss opportunity is because of poor decision making. We make poor decisions and it causes us to miss opportunities. Pretty much like Tanya said, because of her fear, she missed an opportunity to gain a fortune. When we make poor decisions, we miss opportunities. Particularly when it comes to money. When we mismanage our money and we make poor decisions about handling our money, we miss opportunities. Opportunities that generally come around once in a lifetime or once every 10 years, once every 20 years, whatever the scenario may be. Because we didn't make wise decisions, we miss those opportunities. And I just use money as an example. There's other examples. This is a good one. Stubbornness causes us to miss opportunities. Stuck in our ways. And it's not necessarily that we're stuck in our way, we're our thinking. And that's stubborn, any opportunities. And what happens is also stubbornness will cause you to miss building relationships with people. Because a lot of people nowadays don't want to deal with stubborn people. Because you're so stuck And if you think about stubbornness, the best way I can think about it is you have become a tree. Because if you think about it, a tree, when a tree is planted, it doesn't move, right? A tree is it's planted right there. So when you think about our behavior and our characteristics and become moved, we want to stay right where we are. Is in the natural, if you think about it, the tree's not being watered, so it's not wrong. So it would eventually wither away and die, right? You're welcome opportunities. You're flexible is what they call it in corporate America. You become flexible. I know people who are stubborn, I know people who are flexible. And I've learned over the years, it's better to be flexible than to be stubborn. Because when you're stubborn, you miss out on a gazillion opportunities. You miss out on opportunities that are just for yourself, and you miss out on opportunities with things that are connected and people that are connected to you. Right? Can you guys hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Our inability, this leads right into our inability to be flexible causes us to miss opportunities. How many of you can honestly say that you're flexible?
I can say now I am, but I haven't always been this way. I used to resist being flexible because I was one track minded. I hated change. I hated to shift. But, and I mean, seriously, for years. But I'll say within the last couple years, I've gotten better at it because of missing so many opportunities and really being sensitive to what God is saying.
Right.
Not just in business, I've missed a lot of stuff, important stuff. So I'm a little better at that now. I want to because I don't want to miss God.
That's good. Anybody? Brenda, are you in a place where you can talk?
I am. I'm in the kitchen. Prepare lunch for me. It's my Saturday to watch him. So look quiet.
Oh. You watching Mr. Gangster?
He fell this week, so I'll just take
Oh no. Well,
today.
we'll definitely keep him in prayer. We'll definitely keep him in prayer. So our inability to be flexible, it causes us to miss opportunities. And one thing that I was thinking about, I don't know, some years ago, I was somewhere and I call it being rigid. And the place where I was at and what I was supposed to be doing, in my mind, I thought it was time sensitive. I thought it was time sensitive, right? Only to discover that I needed to be flexible. And because I was not flexible based off of what was originally given to me, I missed an opportunity to connect. And I beat myself up behind that for a while. But one thing that I can tell you is I learned my lesson really quickly and I made sure I didn't do it again. And so even when it comes to me, like hosting events and things like that, and so like I'll say, oh, it's at this specific time or that or the other. In my mind, okay, even though I set it for 10 o'clock, I have to be flexible because that's my time. I have to be mindful that I'm dealing with people. I'm dealing with different personalities. I'm dealing with different characteristics. Now, I'm not going to weigh too much on the people, right? Because people can get you in trouble. People can cause you to come off track. People can cause you to sway in a direction that you don't want to go in. But I've learned to be flexible. Now, flexibility, when it comes to dealing with people, it depends on the individual, because you can allow more flexibility with one than you can the other, but you still have to have a stopping point, right? You still have to have boundaries, because if you don't have boundaries, people take advantage of your boundaries. And what happens is they take advantage of your boundaries, and it causes you, the person who's being flexible, to miss opportunities.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah, that's
I
real.
think, yeah, that's good, because honestly, even in therapy, we're working on boundaries, and I am a little bit more flexible, let's say in business. I've been flexible. Like if an appointment, let's say, is at 12 o'clock and a client doesn't show, I give 15 minutes, then they'll call me like at 12:30 and then expect to get on the phone. In the past, I would like, come on, but then I'm frustrated in the midst because I really need a whole hour. So
Right.
now I had to start saying, hey, you're gonna have to reschedule your appointment, unfortunately. So, and everything. So for some people, it depends on what it is. That's why when you
Yeah.
ask the question, I'm like, I'm flexible on a lot of people. It depends on who it is or what assignment I have to do. But
Mhm.
my problem is letting people run me over in a little bit. So I can't be as much flexible as I used to be.
Or here's another suggestion, especially because you deal with business and helping people to build their business. They're paying you money for your time. And let's say you scheduled an hour session with them and they're late. You can see them for the last 30 minutes, but they miss out on the other half an hour and they don't get their money back. Because at the end of the day, they paid you for their time, and it's not on you that they're late. So that's another option. And it will actually cause people to stop and think. Because the first thing that they're going to come to their mind is, well, I paid you for an hour. Yes, you did. However, you were late. And it's non-refundable. See, when
Right.
you put boundaries up like that, it makes people stop and think. It's not being mean, it's being business minded. And it's you protecting your own time. Because what happens is, if you have to reschedule and they do it again, you have now just wasted 2 hours.
And I've been through that. I had someone that rescheduled 4 times, and I told her, before we can reschedule, I told her she's gonna have to send me a rebooking fee, because that was 4 times that you did not show up and did not cancel at least 24 hours prior. You just didn't show up.
Right. So those are things that we have to take into consideration. Those are what we call missed opportunities, or we also call them pimped opportunities. You pimp the opportunity, or you take advantage of the opportunity that was given to you, because you want to customize it your way, and you're not sensitive of the time of the person who's lending you their time or giving you an opportunity. Does that make sense? Yeah.
That they don't value.
Right. People don't value the time that's being given to them. Another one is, our mindset causes us to miss opportunities. Where the way that we think, it will cause us to miss opportunities. One example is this, and I hear this often. I've kind of talked about it briefly before, is when we're given opportunities, and you mentioned it about the whole thing about jobs. You can go look for a job and it'll require, on the paper, it'll say, well, you need this degree, or you need this, that, and the other. But at the end of the day, if you avail yourself to be trained, thoroughly trained, 9 times out of 10, and I can speak to this because I am a living witness of it, depending on how you present yourself will determine if the opportunity is going to be given to you, regardless if you have the credentials or not. It's the mindset. And oftentimes we have this tripped up mindset where we block our own opportunity. We are the ones who shut that door that's been swinging open. What we do is we grab the knob and we close it back. So we have to be mindful of that. Even when it comes to connecting with people. And that's the one thing that I've learned. I've learned that so much, even today, people have challenges connecting with other people. But it goes back to that whole spirit of that fear and the lack of trust. And it's not to say that you have to just throw all of your trust in the person when you first meet them. It's built over time, because trust is not granted to you immediately in the first place. It doesn't matter who you are. It does not matter who you are. If you think about a baby and a mother, the baby is learning to trust its mother because it has to become familiar with the mother, right? That's a relationship that has to be built over time. It's not one-sided. And if you don't do your part in availing yourself to build the relationship, you've missed an opportunity. Does that make sense? That you had a question? You sure?
I was just gonna say there's a measure, it's a give and take in relationships, but it's built upon. When you say a measure has to still be extended at some point when you build, if you're invested in building the relationship.
Well, the key is if you're investing in building a relationship. A lot of people don't want to invest.
But you can't, you can't have a false expectation then for it to grow or to evolve.
If you don't do your part.
Right.
And so thank you for even saying that, because even when it comes to relationships, a lot of times, and it goes back to the mindset that I talked about, the mindset a few minutes ago, right? We are stuck here in the past based off of what we experienced in the past when it comes to relationships. But you have newfound relationships where they give you opportunities to grow, opportunities to network, opportunities to build your communication skills, opportunity to welcome the opportunity to love and to be loved, right? All of these kinds of things. And what happens is we don't want to put the investment in it. Or like you said, we customize, or we have a false expectation. And what I mean by the false expectation, it's all about what we want, that selfishness.
Trust me, but I'm not gonna give you the same measure of trust back.
That part right there. That's exactly what it is. I want you to trust me, but I'm not gonna trust you. That's an oxymoron. That's literally an oxymoron. I want you to trust me while we're building this relationship, but I'm not gonna trust you back. I know you're communicating with me, but I'm not gonna communicate back with you. Or I'm gonna do it when I feel like it. When you have the time, you still don't do it. I know this is hitting home, but this is a reality. This is missed opportunities. We have missed opportunities to build relationships with people. And the core thing of building relationships with people is to help encourage one another, right? If it's somebody who's genuine, it's to help encourage one another, right? To be of help. And we can't always go into a relationship with our hand out. We got one hand out because we want what you gonna get. Whatever you got to give me, I need you to give it to me, Felicia. I need you to give me everything. I'm gonna suck you dry. But then we have the other hand closed. We have the other hand closed.
No, instead of me giving you my whole hand, I give you a finger.
Right, you're just giving me a finger, but the other hand is closed. Is this making sense to you guys? This is what happens when it comes to opportunities. We always want the opportunity, but we don't want to do our part. So we keep this fist closed, but then we always give me, like a little kid. Give me. That's mine. Give it to me. That's mine. But where's the exchange? There's a part that you have to play when an opportunity is presented to you. In order for you to receive and appreciate and receive the blessing from the opportunity. No different than on a job. There's requirements of you on the job. You gotta go, you gotta be there a certain time, you gotta clock in or whatever. But that's an opportunity that's still given to you. And you're still riding on the opportunity as long as you're employed. Let that sit. You're still riding on the opportunity as long as you're employed. The moment that you get fired or the moment they let you go, lay you off, or you leave, the opportunity is no more. We'll look at that.
That's really good. Thank you. It's really good. I literally just was thinking about how like a little baby or toddlers when they're walking with you and they can't, their hands aren't big enough to grab your whole hand. So typically,
They take a couple fingers and put them in the palm of your hand.
But their whole hand fits around it because that's the measure that they can hold
Right.
onto. But they as they grow, they can hold, they can carry more, they can hold on more. But that's what relationships supposed to look like.
They're not going to miss the opportunity to put their little hand in your big old hand. They little hand in your big old hand. That's what that looks like.
But they're still grabbing hold.
Yeah, they still grab hold. Not even knowing they're grabbing hold. So, I'm gonna ask you guys a couple questions and I'm gonna go around the room because I want to hear from everybody. Do you find yourself saying, I have made a mistake and missed yet another opportunity, and I feel like I can't get it back? Oh, the room is quiet.
Yes, I have. I found myself saying that before. And it gets to a point where if you don't make a change, there won't be any opportunities to be missed. It's gonna be any until you make a decision to move forward.
Did you guys hear what she said?
What did you say?
I said, yeah, I have found myself saying that I've missed an opportunity and I don't think it's gonna come back around. And it gets to a point where you have to either make the necessary changes or else you'll find that you won't have any new opportunities to even take. There won't be anything else placed on the table. So.
That's good. Anybody else? Before I call your name.
I go. Oh, I've been feel like I've been getting delivered all weekend. Oh, but basically, yes. I feel like sometimes when I'm supposed to speak up and then I allow the opportunity to pass me by, and then I would just like, don't worry about it. Like last night was like an amazing example because I had started speaking and then Mama Reba had wrote me and was like, yeah, I interrupted you, so you need to finish saying what you was gonna say. And I was like, what I was saying? And I was like, she was like, say it. And I was like, in my mind, I just bagged up and I was like, don't worry about it or whatever like that. And then so she was like, no, say what you have to say. And then that's when AA was like, before I call on you. So in reality, when I first did it, I was like, I need to say what I need to say. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, don't worry about it. It's nothing and stuff like that. So for me, when it happened the first time, I was like, well, maybe ain't nobody hear me. Maybe ain't nobody hear me trying to talk. So I kind of like, dang, I may not get that opportunity anymore or anything like that. But then I did have the opportunity, but it won't always happen that way. So that taught me that when I'm gonna speak, I need to speak. I need to be bold. I need to say what I need to say and everything. So that's my part there.
That's good.
I can relate to that. That is good.
That's good. What about you, Tanya?
Okay, you know what, when India, when you did say about last night, I had struggled with that. And it irritates me, my own self, that even like now, sometimes when I'm have the opportunity to speak, I feel like I miss it. If this makes any sense, I feel like I miss the opportunity to explain myself fully. And when I'm done, it's like, you didn't explain it right. If that makes any sense. I feel like I have not got my point across. So then I'm irritated with myself after it's over because I feel like I've been misheard, misunderstood, what
But
have
is
you.
that from your own judgment before you have even allowed the other person or persons that you're talking to reiterate what you have shared? Do you just shut yourself down immediately?
No, it's generally afterwards because they may have reiterated, but I feel like I haven't said everything I need to say. And I think that's from time sensitive. I think that's from sometimes being overly anxious, but then sometimes being from don't want to take up too much time, too much space because other people need to talk. And I think it's also coming from there was a time I wouldn't talk at all. There's a time I would be one of the ones that would even show my face. I would be on Zoom and wouldn't be hiding. So I'm trying to find balance with that. So it's like I think I'm my own worst critic. I can admit that. So I struggle with, well, you should have said this, or you should have said that, or you shouldn't have said that.
So would it be safe to say that you're putting a false expectation on yourself? Because you went from not saying anything at all to sharing, but then you're looking for yourself to share in a particular way that's not you.
No, I don't think so because I'm be honest, I don't think that's it. Because all these thoughts keep coming to my mind after it's over. Maybe that's not a good example. I mean that I'm a person, you know, I'm very transparent. But I don't think
Do
that's
you write down your thoughts before you especially like in a setting like this? Have you thought about actually writing down what you're going to say before you say it?
no.
Try that.
Okay. Okay.
Try that because I guarantee you it will work. Because if you come from a place where you were one that hid behind the camera or not, felt comfortable speaking up, and now you're being pushed to speak up because there's value in what you have to say. When you're listening and things begin to poke at you, if you know what I mean, where you want to respond to it and or ask a question or make comments, it's always good to write down those triggers. And what I mean by triggers is what you want to say, how it's connecting, how whatever you're hearing, how it's helping you to connect dots. Because what happens is it'll help you to gather your thoughts so that when it is time for you, when the opportunity presents for you to ask the question, you'll have all the information there. And sometimes it's better to give too much information than too less. And you can't always be worried about, let me hurry up and rush what I want to say, because you're trying to gain clarity. You're trying to connect the dots.
Yes.
But instead of you fully allowing yourself to connect those dots, you're worried about taking up somebody else's time.
That's an insecurity.
I'm glad you said that.
It is. It's an insecurity.
I promise I'm not cutting today. I'm glad you said that. You cut your own self.
I feel like Indy, I've been getting cut for the past week.
I didn't cut you this time. You cut
So
yourself.
it's fine. We got cut up last night and then we got delivered, okay? So
But that's what happens. The insecure part of us causes us to put these false time frames because we're so concerned. Let me hurry up and say or not say, because we're worried about somebody else. And what we do is we miss the opportunity to fully connect the dots and gain a greater level of understanding. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I've
Yes.
been there, I've done it many a times, and the frustration is real. The frustration is completely real. And so what I've even learned, even as a speaker, when I'm sitting before other people and they're speaking, I don't know, Tanya, you probably witnessed it when I was in Ohio, when I would have my tablet, I was taking notes the whole time. I was literally taking notes and taking the notes of what was being said, and I was adding to those notes my takeaway from what I was hearing, so that when the opportunity presented itself for me to ask a question, I can ask the question based off of everything that I had. Does that make sense?
Yes.
That's what you call fully engaged. You're fully engaged where you're connecting dots. So you're not missing an opportunity to be able to share or to ask the questions. And what happens is, because of our insecurity, we don't open our mouth and we miss connecting that dot that gives us clarity, right? That gives us a greater level of revelation. We miss it because of our own insecurity. And I hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it because it's the truth. Women suffer from insecurities more than men do. We are more communicators than men are, but we still suffer from insecurities when it comes to being fully engaged and communicating, because we put these false weights on ourselves in terms of, like you said, Tanya, that didn't come out the right way, or that didn't say, don't worry about it. If you know you're among people that's going to help you connect those dots, you need not worry about something that you shouldn't be worried about, because what you do is you miss your own opportunity in connecting those dots. And if you have somebody in the room who's going to help you connect the dots, you block them from helping you connect the dots because of your own thinking. Does that make sense?
Yes.
If it don't, I can clarify.
Yes, that makes sense. Yes.
We miss our own opportunities. We miss the opportunity of being fully engaged with the person or people in the room because of our own insecurities. And what we have to do is we literally have to get to a place where we have to work on overcoming the insecurities, because the insecurities not only causes us to miss our opportunities, it causes us to miss a whole lot of stuff. It causes us to stay in a place where we really don't want to be. It stunts our growth mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. It stunts our growth. Insecurities stunt our growth. I talk about insecurities all the time, and I talk about it from a personal place because I struggled with insecurities for a very, very long time. There was nobody there that could help me. My mama couldn't help me. My sisters couldn't help me because, hey, they were struggling from it too. So how you gonna help me come out the water and you in the water with me? You can't. I struggled with it for a very long time. And when I came to the other side, that's why it's a passion of mine to help women overcome their insecurities, because I wore those shoes for a very long time. It's like, you know, the orthotic heels and all of that. That's what it makes me think that I wore those. And actually I did wear similar shoes to that when I was from the age of 1 to age like 6 or 7. I had to wear special shoes. Yeah. So insecurities come in different angles, in different ways. And we have to get to a place when we have to first recognize and take ownership. You know what, I am insecure in this particular area, right? And when you recognize it and you see how it makes you feel, then you can do something about it. But if you ignore the feelings behind feeling insecure, then you're gonna stay in a place of insecurity. Notice it says insecurity, so you have no security because you're insecure. You have no security in your thinking when you're insecure. You have no insecurity in your speaking because you're insecure. You see how it impacts in various areas of our life, and it causes us to miss the opportunities. So thank you for sharing, Tanya.
Oh, you're welcome, thank you. And it also.
What about you, Brenda? You looking all astute in your yellow?
It's a moo. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
I've been listening to everyone, and I, as you know, Michelle, I feel like I've been in collision with myself for, how long have I been here with my parents? 3 years now, since I left my own place.
No,
and
it's been longer. It's been longer.
well,
than
I've been
3
in El
years.
Paso already 7 years, but
Yeah.
remember I got my own place and I was
Oh,
doing my,
yeah. It's about 3.5 years. Mhm.
yeah. So since I've been here, and that's why it was so important for me to reconnect with what you offer me and the other girls. I couldn't pinpoint it, and listening to everybody, it makes it easier for me to understand that I've been running on fear and anxiety just because of the situation here. But that has allowed me to shut down completely and isolate. So I have no idea what opportunities I've missed the last 3 years. I can only imagine what they are, because I haven't put myself out there, period.
Right. Right.
Out of, and I'm not used to having anxiety, fear, we all have it, and possibly
Right.
anxiety, but I used drugs for so long, as my story, Michelle, that took all the anxiety away. And then I found God and all that. So, but these last 3 years have been very hard for me. So I'm just glad that I'm reconnecting, and I just want to thank all the ladies that are speaking.
You're welcome.
And we'll talk later, Michelle. I'll reach out. I just know you're so busy. So, but thank you. Thank you for bringing these Zoom meetings on. They're helping me. I wish I was still in Dallas, but this is helping me. So right now, at least I'm not missing the opportunity to reconnect. And that's
That part right there.
that's something I'm not missing
the opportunity to connect or reconnect, because we don't know how long the connection will last. I hope you got caught that. You don't know how long a connection will last. So,
Yeah, I definitely don't want to miss those connections
what
no
about
more.
you, Octavia?
I have that insecurity of speaking.
You have insecurity of speaking. Why?
I feel like words don't come out right.
But you have such a confidence in your voice. Even with the mask on, you have such a confidence with the few words that you have spoken. Nobody's probably told you that. But I'm going to tell you that. You have such a confidence in your voice. And the thing is, a lot of people, when they speak with the mask on, it's like you got to try to press in to hear what they have to say. I did not have to do that with you. And you're sitting across the room. I can still hear what you have had to say. And so I would just say to you, take the opportunity and use your voice. Okay? Because your voice has power in it. And I also think that your voice can help you get to the place where you desire concerning your situation. Because you're gonna have to speak to yourself, okay? And I believe you speaking to yourself will cause you to come up out of that situation that you're in a lot quicker. Okay, so thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. Shayla.
Yes, I have definitely missed opportunities and the whole thing of the whole insecurity like all y'all talking about. Yeah. I'm familiar with that as well.
Can you guys hear her? Okay. You said no? You probably
I
want
can
to
hear just a little bit.
that you right there.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I've definitely missed some opportunities and I can relate to all of you guys about the insecurity piece. But what I'm learning now about that is me recognizing that I do have those insecurities and seeing what's inside and then what needs to come out. I am choosing now or refusing to not allow those insecurities and those doubts of my own, I guess, ability, if you will, and not allowing myself to miss those opportunities, because if I do miss those opportunities, not only is that impacting me and affecting me in a negative way, but it's impacting those who are to receive something from me or to gain something from me as well. So I'm still learning, and even like insecurities still rise up even today, and I'm still learning to choose. It takes every day to like just choose to not like stay in that same place. So
That's good.
yeah. Did y'all hear that?
They heard you. It's Diane.
I guess mine would be opportunities like career oriented. I would always go back to school and take different things, but I never did really follow up with it. Like at 19, I graduated from Texas Tech and had a degree in fashion merchandising, where I was trying to be a buyer at the store. And then my business management. And then I took real estate. And then I didn't really follow with that either. And then I took Montessori. And then I did all the good work and everything, but I never did go for the internship.
Was it because of fear?
No, because I didn't like the thought of working 800 hours and not getting paid. And I really needed the income.
Sometimes the sacrifice that we do grants the reward in the end.
But that's a lot.
Yeah. It may be a lot of hours, but think about the many hours that you did other things and you weren't getting paid and there was no reward.
Showing up for class and doing all the essays and all that.
Yeah. Sometimes I believe we look at stuff from the wrong perspective. And granted, I understand what you're saying. You needed the money and you were trying to figure out, okay, I'm not getting paid for this internship. However, at the end of the day, at the end of the internship, you would have started getting money because it would have landed you a job, a very specific job, right? So that's why I say sometimes the sacrifice, depending on what the sacrifice is, it would open up another door of opportunity. But if we don't position ourselves for the sacrifice, we miss that opportunity. So just something to think about. Thank you for sharing. Mia, did you go already? Okay. Felicia, so,
Definitely, opportunities at work, opportunities naturally.
yeah, kind of so they can hear you.
I would say definitely, mostly because of, I would say fear of, sometimes we can allow fear to make us, talk us out of what we know is in us, that internal tug of war. You want to take this leap, but you talk yourself out of it. And that's been my situation in past. Opportunities to share revelation or wisdom, or opportunities to kind of move in a different direction, and not really from I guess what you were talking about before, the right perspective, really weighing out the outcome of it, because you're so focused on that moment and how you feel right then.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely.
That's good.
And you're right, some opportunities you don't get a chance.
They don't come back around.
They don't come back around. You take the long route and you may miss 2 years. That's time that there are people I was supposed to maybe cross paths with. There were opportunities that I could have positioned myself to, because I wasn't there to get them. But I have to forgive myself and move forward and seize the opportunities that are before me now.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the part where when we have those opportunities to forgive ourselves to move forward.
That part. But the key is, when you recognize you've missed an opportunity or opportunities, and you experience the loss behind that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And what I mean by you experience a loss, you experience the loss mentally and emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes financially, depending on what it is, right? You have to ask yourself, is that a place where you want to remain? Or do you take that experience as a learning experience? Learn from your behavior, your actions, or the lack thereof, which caused you to miss the opportunity, and then you have to forgive yourself. Does that make sense to you guys? You have to forgive yourself for missing the opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
But then here's the key. When you forgive yourself for missing the opportunity, you have to put into practice of undoing the action that caused you to miss the opportunity.
Learn from either the mistake that was made.
You learn from the mistake, and here's the key. Don't say you learn from it, but then you go back and repeat it. You have to really come to a resolve within yourself and say, this behavior or this decision that I did, or the way I made the decision, caused me to miss this opportunity, right? And then you have to look at your actions or the lack thereof. Can you hear some tissue? You have to look at the actions or the lack thereof, okay? The ramifications of how it makes you feel, or how it made you feel. The loss behind the missed opportunity. And then you have to ask yourself and be honest with yourself, do you want to stay in that place? Or do you want to move forward? I got it. So you have to get to that place where you have to do a self-examination, whatever works. You have to do a self-examination. And I think that's the piece where that's the key component where we miss when it comes to the opportunities, right? Instead, what we do is we default to the shoulda, coulda, woulda, and we start beating up on ourselves. We can't stay in that place because you can beat up on yourself all day long and you're still going to remain in that place. But when you start taking your energy that you're using from beating up on yourself and start implementing that energy into where you can go, then you're no longer stuck in the place of the shoulda, coulda, woulda. Does that make sense to you guys? You have a question?
I was gonna say, to be transparent, I struggle with this once I realized that partially we do the false expectations of self. But I just have this trouble with big things in life, the things where I really need to get back up on. Like when I fall hard.
But when you fall, and let me help you, because I know this is not just for you. We have to be mindful that when you fall, you can get back up. This is for everybody. When you fall and you make a mistake, you have the ability to get back up. But what happens is when we fall, we stay down. That's what makes it appear that we've fallen big. Does that make sense? The reality of it is we have not fallen big. We've just fallen. And I know this is not church, but the scripture clearly tells us if you fall, you get back up. You can't focus on staying down. You cannot focus on staying down. You have to focus on what's above, what's ahead. We're all going to make mistakes. And I think that's part of our problem. We put these, and you said it, we put these false expectations on ourselves. And when we put these false expectations on ourselves, we miss opportunities. Why? Because the false expectation makes us think that we're perfect and we're not. Is that safe to say?
Or allow others to put them on us.
Or allow others to put that on us. None of us are perfect. None of us. Nobody on this earth is perfect. But when we put false expectations on ourselves, we have this makeup in our mind that we're perfect, that we're without falling, we're without mistake. I will say this: when you fall, you get back up, you take the experience that caused you to fall and learn from it. It's easier done than it is said. And you notice I said it backwards. It's easier done than it is said.
I keep seeing, like, you know, when you trip over a ledge in a place you go frequently, the second time you know to look down or you know to step over it. But applying that into the spirit or into our lives, I don't know where that miss.
Because it's easier done than said. But we're focused on what's said and not what's done. That's why I said it the reverse. Because the normal thing is it's easier said than done. But in this particular case, it's easier done than it is said. But what happens is we focus on what's being said and it takes our focus off of what's been done or what can be done. Like you said, the whole ledge thing, you know the ledge is in front of you, but you're not focusing on the ledge that's in front of you, you're focused on what's been said. The distraction. And it's self-distraction. Is this making sense to you guys? That's what happens. We put the false expectation on ourselves, right? To make us think that we're perfect and we're without making a mistake. The best thing that we can do is make a mistake and learn from the mistake. It's to learn from the mistake. Because if you keep making the mistake repeatedly, then you're not positioning yourself to learn from why you made the mistake last time. You see what I'm saying? It's no different than when you're in school and you're taking a test and you miss 8, but you have an opportunity to go back and review what you missed. And if you have an opportunity to retake the test, what are you going to do? You're going to go back and review the ones that you missed, right? to make sure that you don't miss those same questions again when you have an opportunity. Here we go, talking about opportunity to retake the test. Life gives you an opportunity to retake your test. I hope I just simplified it. Until the day you die, you have an opportunity to retake your test. It's up to you to learn from the questions that you missed the last time. You go back and review what you missed, and you learn from what you missed, so that when you have an opportunity again to retake your test, you won't miss those same questions. You're not what I call a repeat offender. Does that make sense to you guys? Is it helping y'all to connect dots? That's why I said it's easier done than it is said. Because a lot of times when we become analytical, we focus on what's being said instead of what needs to be done. And we miss the whole opportunity of what can be done, those kinds of things, because we're so focused on those words. I know what I'm about to say is irrelevant, but it is relevant. We all know the saying, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt. When it's actually the reverse. Because words do hurt. Words are very complex. Words can trip you up. Words can set you off, and words can bring distraction. Whereas sticks and stones, there's action behind it. Did that make sense?
Words that would be life, or they speak words of encouragement, or they speak that.
Or we can get stuck on words.
Right. Or we can
And a lot of us get stuck on words. Words that were spoken to us when we were little, growing up, we get stuck on those words instead of canceling out those words and no longer missing opportunities. So, yeah. So the last thing I want to leave you guys, did you have a question? No. The last thing I wanted to leave you guys with is, and this is a question, it's you can either share or not share. How are you coping with recognizing you've missed opportunities? Notice I didn't say the word regret this time. How are you coping with knowing you missed opportunities? Diane, you got the look on your face.
I'd say frustrated.
You're frustrated? Okay.
Yeah, because I had all the opportunities, but I never did follow up on it.
Have you bothered to follow up to see if the opportunity is still present? No.
Well, I'm gonna be able, I'm not gonna ever be able to drive because of my, I have like double vision in both eyes too. If I turn my eyes a certain way, double vision in one of them.
Okay. Anybody else? No.
For me, it's the getting back up piece. Like, because I can be self-critical, it's not hard for me to recognize, like, okay, this is where you messed up. All right, let me solve that. And then it's what you could have done better, and I chew on that, but then it's like, okay, the digesting of it, like letting all of that get into me so I don't make, it's the getting back up piece. I'm not gonna make it more complicated than it needs to be, but
You gotta learn to walk and chew gum at the same time. Simply put. You gotta learn how to really walk and chew gum at the same time. And what does that mean? What does that look like? Taking ownership of where and processing it while you're moving forward at the same time.
And I always try to make them.
You can't separate the two.
Okay.
Because if you separate them, and this is for everybody, when you find yourself separating, you'll find yourself still stuck.
Okay.
You're not moving, right? And so if there's a goal on the table, you'll not reach that goal. You will delay the very thing that you're trying to get to because you're still stuck here. So you gotta walk and chew gum. So if you hear me say walk and chew gum, that means you gotta take it, process it, and keep moving at the same time. And you will actually find that while you're walking and chewing gum and processing it at the same time, you're better able to connect the dots because you're not sitting still and you're not idle and you're not beating up on yourself. Does that make sense? Because when you're sitting idle, it gives you more time to beat up on yourself. I should have did this. I didn't do that. Why didn't this happen? You know what I'm saying? You start over analyzing and you're stuck in that place. Whereas if you're walking and chewing gum and you're moving, as you're moving forward, you can still connect the dots. And then it'll allow you to not trip yourself up again because you're moving forward. Your eyes are open, your ears are open, and you're paying attention to what you're doing while you're processing it. But if you're just sitting still, you're beating up on yourself, you're delaying everything else, and nothing's moving. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Literally nothing is moving. You're just, and what happens is you delay the very things that you're trying to accomplish. Or you may sabotage them because you're sitting too long. And that's what happens with many of us. We sabotage the very thing that we need to move forward in. Because we want to sit and beat up. Yes, we are our worst critics. We are our worst, and we can be our worst enemy. So then the question becomes, are you going to stay your own enemy? Which means you're fighting against yourself. Or you're going to stop fighting against yourself and give yourself some grace. That part.
One thing too, when you go back to sense on the opportunity, because I'm in that situation.
Can you guys hear her? You have okay.
I was gonna share, one thing is when you go, because I'm in this current place, when you circle back to see if an opportunity, you mentioned that specifically about knocking on doors to see if the opportunity exists with Diane, and I'm in that place. Sometimes it's just being still and being patient and waiting. We may not get the quick response because we didn't seek the opportunity when it was there available. But knocking on the door sometimes to see if it is available, if the grace will come. Maybe still being patient and flexible, because it's not going to look like it did the first time it was presented, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So just staying in a place of humility when the first window of opportunity is presented, because it's not going to always look the same way, i.e.
Okay.
Don't give y'all shit.
What story I like?
Oh, that one. Okay.
And just
Thank you. But could it also be that?
And I guess when I say opportunity, it could be relationships, it could be whatever. I mean, it's applicable, it's general.
Right, but you said something that stood out when we say sometimes when the opportunity comes back around, it may not look the same way it did. Mm-hmm. Could it very well be that it does look the same, that we missed something the first time, that's when we missed the opportunity?
Say that again.
When you said, when the opportunity comes around, it may look different than what it did the first time. But could it actually be that it's not different than what it was the first time? It appears to be different because we missed it the first time.
So you're saying you could be missing it again because you knocked on the door?
No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it may appear to be different the second time that opportunity comes around. The opportunity is only coming around because it's meant to come around the second time because you missed it the first time.
Got it.
But that's not to say that what it looked like the first time is different than the second time. We didn't see it the first time, that's why we missed it.
So it could be being presented in
The
a very
lens.
different way, and so that you don't miss it this time.
Right, but it's still the same thing as before, but we didn't press in with a clear lens to see the full opportunity, so
That's
we
good.
missed it.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So we missed it. Okay,
No, that's good.
so,
Because
yeah,
sometimes we hinder ourselves, we like, I missed it, help me not miss it. So when, if it's presented in a way so we don't miss it, but we're looking for it to come the way we missed it the first time instead of being open to.
that's why I said, that's why I started off when I made, one of the bullet points is we can miss things because of our lens, the way we look at something. Our lens cannot be adjusted. We don't adjust our lens to see the full opportunity. Now, let me put this disclaimer. Sometimes you don't need to see the full entire opportunity, because sometimes when we want to see the full opportunity, that's when our analytics kick in. And because we sit and analyze it for too long, we miss it. Does that make sense? So we have to be mindful that you can't just sit with an opportunity for too long. If it is meant to be, that thing that some people call gut and other people call Holy Spirit, you got to tap into that gut or that Holy Spirit to discern whether or not that opportunity is for you. Because if you're pressing in, you're going to know right away if it is or if it's not. And what happens is we labor too long and we miss the opportunities. That's exactly what happens. We labor too long because we want to cross every T, dot every I, circle every O, put every curly on the Q. Yeah, every curly on the Q. We want to make sure the H has the thing in it. And we're missing the opportunities. I mean, it sounds funny, but this is true. This is what we do. And we miss them.
I think about H standing for going higher, and the H, like you said, the missing thing in the middle, because that's the bridge to take you from the one side to the other side.
Exactly.
So that you can go higher.
Right.
But
We miss it. We miss it. So anyway, that's all I have for you guys. I hope that this was helpful to you, in that when opportunity knocks, you answer the door. When the opportunity is breathing or you hear it on your window, that you open the curtains. You don't just keep the blinds closed. When opportunity knocks, when someone is trying to connect with you or reconnect with you, that you don't push or shove to the side, because opportunities only, and generally speaking, opportunities only come once in a lifetime. If the opportunity happens to come back around again, that's grace for you. And that's not often. It is not often. Yeah, question? Yes.
So, say there was an opportunity that presented itself and you do take the opportunity, but the opportunity falls through. And then maybe somewhere down the line that opportunity comes again. How would you respond to? Well, you would respond with discernment, obviously.
You would proceed with caution.
But how do you navigate being reminded of, well, the previous time? I know the answer. I know the answer.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions, comments? I want to make sure that I answer your question if you have any before I close it out. I can see it in the phone. Oh, yeah. Yep, it's our perception. Our perception is what gets us in trouble. That's why they call it perception. And if you think about it from the flip side, when you think about perception, if you have had challenges with being misunderstood from other people, that's other people's perception of you. You can't control other people's perception. You can only control how you respond. I hope that helps you. So if you struggle with people misunderstanding you, it's generally because of their perception of you. But that's a two-part. Most of the time, their perception of you when you're being misunderstood is their perception. But then you also have to make sure that what you are presenting, you're not causing them to have a specific perception of you.
So how do you address that if it's not? Because sometimes, like you said, some people are just, it is their perception. And so you have to be willing or open to see someone in a different way.
But you also have to pay attention how you're presenting. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not mindful of how you're presenting, even when it comes to asking questions, you can cause yourself to be misunderstood. That's one thing I learned. You don't have control at the end of the day of how a person perceives you. But you do have you have control over how you present yourself. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yes. You have control over how you present yourself. Because if you're doing what you need to do to present yourself, and I can go there with the scripture, present yourself as a living body sacrifice, all of that, holy and acceptable unto God, which is your reasonable service. If you're presenting yourself the way you're supposed to present yourself, let the chips fall where they may. But if you're not presenting yourself the way you need to present yourself to give the majority in the room a different view or a different perception, then you can't put it all on them.
That's good.
And see, we're quick to, because we come from a place where we're always misunderstood, right? And so we're always quick to put it off on other people. But we need to do a self-examination to see, what is it about me that's causing people to misunderstand me? You got to take some ownership in certain places. And like I said, you're not responsible for the majority, but you can be responsible for the few. We have to take a look at self first. What is it that I'm demonstrating that's causing people to misunderstand me? Is it my behavior? Is it the way that I'm thinking? Is it the way that I'm speaking? Is it the way that I'm delivering something, right? And when you begin to do a self-examination in the same area where many people accuse you of, you'll start realizing, okay, I can do this a little bit better. I can change this. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to please everybody, but there's a part that we all play when it comes to us always being misunderstood. And some people you're just gonna misunderstand it, but that's not on you, that's on them. But do yourself a favor and do your own part. Cross your own T and dot your own I's first. And then whatever, you know what I'm saying? Whatever falls after that is whatever falls. And I'm saying that because I was in a place where I was always misunderstood. And it was so uncomfortable, I would cry. I was always misunderstood until I got to a place and I said, you know what is it that causes people to misunderstand me. And I started asking questions. I didn't ask questions of everybody. I asked questions to the people that I knew were going to give me true feedback, not feedback that was going to hurt me, but feedback that was going to build me up and grow me. And I had to make sure I was not in my feelings when I asked for their feedback, because you got to be careful. If you asking somebody for feedback, you can't be in your feelings, because you won't be able to receive the constructive criticism that they're giving you to help grow you. Does that make sense? And so what I did was I put myself in a position, what causes you to misunderstand me? One of them was my posture. I had to shift my posture. I had to change my facial expressions, because my facial expressions with people back then was, I was very cold. I was very cold, and I was in that inner protection where I'm not really protecting myself. I think I am, but I'm really not. So people see that. So there's a misconception, there's a miscommunication. And then the other piece of that was, I'm gonna bless everybody with this. If you're not confident in what's coming out of your mouth, then the person that's receiving is not gonna be confident in receiving it. That's where I got tripped up. I was being misunderstood because I was demonstrating something other than what I was saying. I was not confident in my speaking. And so what it did was it caused confusion in the hearer. And so they're sitting back, well, I don't understand you. I don't understand your behavior, because what's coming out of your mouth, if you're not confident in what you're saying. You see what I'm saying? I was not confident in what I was speaking. And so I became misunderstood, because they didn't know which side to take of me. Are you serious? Are you just giving me fluff? And so, yeah, go ahead.
It's funny that you said this, because I literally did what you literally was just talking about. If I could be transparent, like you asking someone, hey, did I say this wrong, or did I say this with grace, or how exactly was this said the right way? I want to make sure that when I stated, because and everything. And so Holy Spirit dealt with me today and was like, you can't continue to put LOL or the laughing face behind a message, because people wouldn't know how to receive when you're correcting them or being serious, versus you're playing with them and they're not going to take you serious, right? And so, yeah, and so I had to, okay, so I did it, and then I was giving my own self the way they probably perceived it. And so I asked this literally this morning, did I say this wrong? Because I was left on red. So from my feedback, they were like, no, you said it amazingly, like, and everything. They just probably have to process it, and everything. But the Holy Spirit really had to deal with me, because it's knowing, like, if you're not confident in what you're saying to a person and that you're serious, then that person's not going to take you serious either. You're going to have to start taking what you say serious. And I guess I'm from this era where we feel like we have to put laugh out loud or LOL behind a post because we want to lighten up the mood. But in reality, I meant exactly what I said in the most gracious manner. So yeah, I definitely agree with you on that one.
Yep, that's what happens. We have conversations with people and we're not confident in what comes out of our mouth, right? Or we're not confident in what we're typing or whatever. But the thing is, we want people to receive what we're saying, but we don't even receive what we're saying. Does that make sense? So how are we going to have other people to take us serious if we don't take ourselves serious, or we don't mean what we say and say what we mean? And so that what we're doing is we're giving a mixed message. And so when we give a mixed message, remember, those of you who know, I always talk about be careful of your body language and be careful of your facial expressions. Because even though your mouth is not talking, your face is talking and your body language is talking. And if you're demonstrating a lack of confidence, that's what people are going to pick up. So it's going to be the opposite of what's literally coming out of your mouth. And so that's why people are misunderstood. Does that make sense? So we can stop it for the most part. But I say for the most part, because there will be times where you just got people in the room that just misunderstand you. That's not on you, that's on them. But for the most part, we can take authority and take charge over what we are demonstrating. Whether, you're gonna get before people, you're gonna speak confidently, not cocky. There's a difference in cockiness and confidently. You're gonna speak confidently, and you're going to speak with clarity where your audience can receive what you're saying. And if they're struggling with receiving, you got to be in a position to be able to help them to connect the dots, which means you got to rephrase what you're saying. You got to be open to rephrasing what you're saying instead of becoming frustrated because one of your audience people can't understand what you're saying. So you have to give them an opportunity. Now, there's sometimes where you will get frustrated, and it could be because the person is distracted, or they want to play a game with you and not really take in what you're saying. Because I've witnessed that as well. People just want to play games. And so they want to keep asking the question because they want to play a game instead of taking the information that's been given to them seriously. I ran into that last weekend when I was in San Diego, but I had to shut it down. Yeah. That person, and God told me that person wanted to test me and play games with me. And then after the third time, they realized I was gonna stand my ground and you're not gonna play with me. And so those are the different things. You have to get to a place, you have to be open enough to ask yourself, what is it that I'm doing and or saying that's causing people to misunderstand me? So you gotta start with self first. You can't just outwardly say, well, I'm just tired of it, people don't misunderstand me. You can't do it that way. You have to look internal first. And when you begin to look internally, then you'll be able to connect those dots, and you can shift how you deliver, you can shift how you speak, and you can shift and go from a lack of confidence to becoming confident, and a lack of insecurity to becoming secure, because that plays a part too. A lot of times when we're misunderstood is because we're challenged with some insecurity somewhere, and people see it. People see it. People can see as people who are really zoned in and focused, people can see our insecurities. And it's not that they don't want to listen or they don't want to receive from you. They give you an opportunity because they're still in your presence. But if you're still leaning on the insecurity, then you lose that person's attention. Does that make sense? So that's an area that we gotta. You asked me a question. How did I become okay with their perception, and did I not do anything when I did what? And you did not do anything wrong. So the perception is something that I had to work on. And honestly, I overcame that within the last 3.5, 4 years, because I was so caught up in other people's perception of me. And let me tell you what happens when you get caught up with other people's perception. You tend to dummy yourself down, because you're banking on people always receiving what you have to say. There's always going to be somebody in the room that's not going to receive what you have to say, and you have to get to a place and be okay with that. But that plays the part of being insecure. And so I remember when I was getting ordained, the woman who ordained me, she didn't know me. She said to me, and it blessed me, and that's what changed the trajectory of my thinking. She said, those who will receive from you will receive from you. Those who won't, they won't. Be okay with that. Shake the dust and keep it moving. And when I tell you it spoke life into me, it literally spoke life into me. I mean, seriously. Example, last week I just came back from San Diego. The people in the back of the room, they weren't receiving from me. She witnessed it. They didn't want to receive from me. I felt it. I got the mic. I could have called them out, but I chose not to. Because why? In my mind, you just missed an opportunity. You see what I'm saying? You missed an opportunity to get your healing, to get your deliverance, to get whatever it is that you needed to get from me in that moment, you missed it. And I'm not gonna sit here and toil with you and then cause the other people who really want to get it, cause them to, because I'm spending too much time with you. You see what I'm saying? So it causes me, I don't care, if that makes sense. Because people are gonna be people. You can't change people, you can only change yourself. And because I spent too much time in the past worrying about what other people were saying, why people misunderstood me, why people were not receiving me, I dummied down myself and I blocked my own growth. And I started feeling the blocking of my own growth. And when I started feeling it, it caused me to miss opportunities. And so I said, I can't do this no more. I hope that answered your question.
It did. That's actually pretty good. It kind of hit home. It hit me when you said they missed the opportunity, especially if you have something to definitely offer a person or offer people that are in the room or just people, period. But but they missed that because of what their perception or not wanting to receive you. So they missed the opportunity,
Right.
and everything. So yes, ma'am, I understood that. Thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions? No. Well, if not, that was all I have for you guys today. And like I said, I hope that it blessed you. I hope that it gives you some food for thought, that something that you can take away and chew on. And as you're chewing on it, you're digesting it and not spitting it out. Yeah, so that's all I have. If y'all don't have any other questions, I appreciate you guys taking the time to join in. Like I said, each month I come up with a different topic and I believe the topics that are given to me are right on point for where we are in today's society to help us to no longer be stagnant, to help us to get it helps to put oil on the wheel to get the wheel turning again so that we can move forward. Because each and every person that's in this room, even on Zoom, every person matters. And what you have to say matters. It's all in the matter how you deliver what you have to say. And in addition to that, every opportunity can bless you in some shape, form, or fashion. An opportunity that is presented to you can cause you to go from A to B. It's your bridge, right? It is your bridge. And either you can wait until the bridge gets to a breaking point where you're not able to cross the bridge, or you can take advantage of the opportunity and cross the bridge when it is time. Okay? So take that nugget, chew on it, and let it do what it do. All right. It was good seeing you guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. And like I said, we were doing it just live, but now I'm doing it with the Zoom too, because I know more people are interested, not just the people that are locally, but everybody who needs it. I think everybody needs something. And it's up to us to sacrifice 2 hours of our time to get what we need, because we can get what we need in that moment, and it could take us, that little nugget can take us into the next year or the year after. Or that door, right? That door, it could do that. But if we miss the opportunity to get the nugget, then you got salsa, no nugget. I'm gonna let that sit. Anyway. You guys take care. Thank you guys. Stay tuned. I have a lot of stuff that's coming up. Actually, Indy is working on something for me. I have 2 conferences that are coming up. September 11th. It won't be here locally here, but I think what I'm going to do, the breakout session, I'll probably stream live, but the general session I will not. We're going to be in Mobile, Alabama in September, and then in October, I will be in California again. And,
what date was September, Mobile?
September 10th and 11th. 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 10th and
Okay.
Did I not send you that message? Did I think that I said it, but I didn't send it?
You did. It's okay
Oh,
though.
okay. Oh, I didn't send it. You're right. It's sitting in my box. Lord Jesus. September 10th and 11th in Mobile, Alabama, and in California will be October 9th and the 10th. So there'll be more information to follow. So anyway, thank you guys. I appreciate you. Until next time, I'll talk to y'all soon.